guys, welcome. We are live on multi-marketing again. Multi-marketing is live. We haven't done one in quite some time because we only do these lives when we have an important figure that we have to interview. And today we have yet another important figure in the world of literary, in the world of writing, in the world of publishing. And he is joining us right here. You can see him to my left. This is Mervin Francis. Thank you. Welcome onto Multi-Marketing. Thank you for doing this Instagram live interview. You can let go of my hand now. Thank you.
I just felt nostalgic there.
Oh, it's a presence thing.
Yeah.
But I am honored that you are here actually to meet with our viewers on Instagram. As you guys know, watching, Instagram is where multi-marketing lives, because this is where all of you who see us every single day, you are the fan base. This is why we do lives on Instagram. We don't do it on TikTok, we don't do it on Facebook, we don't do it on YouTube, because Instagram, that's where multi-marketing tribe lives. So guys who are watching live, if you have any questions whatsoever related to multi-marketing, related to Mervin Francis, or any of his books that we're going to be talking about this afternoon, make sure to drop it down in the comment section below. I will read it out for him and he will answer those questions for you right here, right now, live on this interview. And if you're watching this later on, because obviously some of you are not here live, you're watching this on tape delay, later on in the day, maybe a few days from now, you're probably watching this. Yes, it happened on a Sunday afternoon, the 4th of February 2024 at 2:30. Sort of 2:30, I know we're a bit off time, but you know, just give us a break, you know. So if you're watching this late, also comment down below. We'll still see questions coming in later on, and you know, Mervin Francis will answer that for you. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Enough about me flapping my gums. We're here to speak to the author, the poet himself, Mervin Francis. So for those who don't know you, obviously a lot of people in multi-marketing, the first time they've seen your name was when we posted out the live poster yesterday on our Instagram. But people who have read about your work, who have seen you elsewhere, people in the Crest Publishers world has known about you longer than we have. But for the multi-marketing viewers who have not seen you, don't know about you, introduce yourself. Who is Mervin Francis?
Okay, firstly, thanks Nashad for the invitation to join you on your live. As Nashad has mentioned, my name is Mervin Francis, and I'm a twice published author with Crest Publishers. I first started with the Crest and my book was first published in 2020, which was called Book of Dreams, and we stumbled across actually publishing. My dream was not actually to publish a book, but get my poetry out, more like with the likes of getting Hallmark cards, greeting cards, because I found that poetry and Hallmark greeting cards actually went hand in hand, and these were things that I always picked up when I used to go to shopping, to CNA. You get a card to give a gift. You've always had these beautiful sayings and poetry that was up there, and that was basically what inspired me to try and challenge to move towards Hallmark and doing poetry for cards, greeting cards.
Oh, okay, so that answers one part of the question, but the question was, who is Mervin Francis? Who are you as a person?
Okay, as a person, I am your regular John, so to say. Currently, I'm a production manager at Toyota. Okay. So I've been with them for a long time. I'll basically say I'm part of the furniture.
All right.
So with regards to that, that's my day job. But I also an avid sportsman. Okay. So I've been a footballer from a very young age, and then moved on to playing cricket, and currently I'm a golfer. So a lot of my time is taken with sports.
Right.
In terms of family orientation, I was the only son in the family. My mom had a lot of challenges when we were growing up. My dad passed on when I was still young, around 16. So at that time I became the only man at home, because I had 3 sisters and my mom to deal with. So as time went on, I did not pursue my dreams to write more poetry, because I went in to try and help with my mom to put food on the table and make sure that my sisters coming behind me have a platform for themselves.
Wow. So have you ever like inspired to be a sports person? Because you mentioned sports has been much in your life.
To be quite honest, I had an offer at a very young age to be to play football.
Right.
I remember I was around about 20, 21 when African Wanderers coach actually approached me. Because I used to play in the Toyota League.
Right.
And when they came up to me at that time, I was quite young. But for me, I looked at football, a problem where you have a limited career.
Yes.
So you're looking at like about, maximum you're going to go is like about 35 years on a full-blown scale. And then financially, it wasn't really viable for me as well. Because I needed to make sure that I had a steady income. Injury would have taken me off the payroll, and then it would have affected as well as a family. So hence the reason why I stuck to Toyota, and thankfully I stuck with Toyota because at the time when I started there was just an operator on a press shop, and from there I transitioned through the years, through the teachings, through the study schemes that they provided for us, up to managerial level.
Wow.
I'm sitting at now.
That's quite the corporate ladder you climbed. And I do like the fact that you brought up Crest Publishers. Crest Publishers is one of the partners of multi-marketing. We've had a long mutual business relationship with them. So I'm glad that you brought them up. And it's good to see a lot of Crest Publishers have come to us for distribution, marketing and stuff like that. It's been quite a journey, and we at Multi-Marketing believe in collaboration, not competition, which is why we've collaborated with Crest Publishers. I just want to send a shout out to Crest Publishers. Thank you if you're watching this video later, and yeah, let's continue the business relationship. Before I go to the next question, I also want to acknowledge there are people who are watching us on Facebook Live as well. If you guys have any questions whatsoever related to the interview we're having, please do drop them in the comment section below. We will get those questions, and Mervin will answer them for you. So we want to know now, coming into your writing, how did you start writing? Did you start writing poetry, or was it started writing from something else, or how did it all begin?
It all started with poetry, and it started at a very young age when I was in my primary school days.
Right.
We used to have literature competitions in school, and one of the themes we normally used to do literature was for the Arbor Day.
Right.
And I have this fascinating way of taking the word Arbor Day and writing a poem across using the first letter of each
letter of the word.
Letter from Arbor Day. And I did a poem with that. And I've used to do this consistently year in, year out. And to a stage where some of them were actually printed onto our class magazines at that time. Taking from there, then we had a little bit of friendship that dwells around where, the guys want to court the girls and they don't have the talent to actually go and write things. So Mervin was the go-to guy. Write as a poem. I want to give it to this girl for Valentine's Day. I want to give it for her birthday. And then I continuously did that, and it kind of like was exciting at that time. But I actually lost out because these guys were using my words and gaining favors. So, but yeah, on the good note is that I'm glad that at that point in time, my poetry actually made something to people, and it was actually being acknowledged. And it was only in the latter stages that it was actually a school friend who was actually Kelly's mom. Kelly, if you don't know, is the CEO of Crest Publishers.
Yes, Wendy.
And it's Wendy. And then Wendy actually asked me, why don't you do a book? Because you've got all these lovely poems. And I said, it would be a good idea. And then she introduced me to Kelly. And then from there, Kelly has been the stepping stone for me actually becoming an author.
Wow, okay. So yeah, you wrote all these poems and people used to take them and use them to court ladies. I know that story actually is going to age you quite badly, because I remember I was in school maybe about 10, 15 years ago, and the way we used to court ladies was we would send them songs, MP3s, back then it was BBM and Mix It and stuff. I remember the most popular song was Fairy Tale by Liquid Deep. Every guy wanted to send a girl that song. But now you're talking about even way before that, you were writing poems and guys were using it to get dates. So that shows you've been around for a long time. So people who want to know, what is your poetry about? What do you write about? Is there a specific topic? Is there a specific tone? Or you just write generally whatever comes into your mind?
Okay, when it came to my initial writing,
Yes.
I was blessed with a topic that came up. I could wake up, just stand, look outside. Is it a cold day? Is it a rainy day? Is it a sunny day? And just by that, I can draw an inspiration to write a poem.
Wow.
But the words used to come, and the fascinating thing about it was, it took me 5 to 10 minutes to write a poem, a complete poem. And once I sit down and I start writing, it just flows, and then there it is. 5 or 10 minutes later, a poem is in my hand.
Yeah.
And it goes around life itself. You wake up, you're breathing fresh air. But most important, you get to see another sunrise, you get to see another day. And then you think about all those that did not get that opportunity. Those that have either passed on in their sleep, some of them,
Sickly, they can't really
Correct.
enjoy the, yes.
they cannot go outside, so they're stuck in their rooms. So you get to wake up, you get to go out, you get to enjoy the pleasures of God's given nature. So yeah, those were my inspiration, those were my muse. Love itself was another one. You've got this heartbeat that keeps you ticking in a way that you want to do things that are exciting, challenge yourself into getting a girl, go on a date, and why not? How better to woo her than with a poem? Would you want to write a long letter and say, here's a novel for you, sweetheart, I love you, can you have you ever thought of that?
I know most people get upset when you write a long essay on a WhatsApp and then the read more button comes up and you're like, I'm not reading more, thanks, bye.
Correct.
Just scroll on, yeah.
Exactly. So poetry is basically, it gives you the entire story, but in about 5 passages.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay guys, so those who are just joining us on Instagram and Facebook Live, thank you for joining us, welcome. We are interviewing Mervin Francis, a 2-time published author, published by Crest Publishers, and he's joining us here for an interview this afternoon. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below and we will read it for you live and he will answer it for you right here, right now on the live. So coming to your poetry, you mentioned you just write basically what comes into your mind. Are you inspired by certain things? Does something have to happen in order for you to inspire you to write a poem? Or does it just happen out of nowhere sometimes?
You don't really need an inspiration. For me, it was something that just pops up in my head. You could probably say to me, Mervin, hey, I need to write a poem for my girlfriend for her birthday. And it's like, you've already put the thought in my head now. You need a poem for your girlfriend for her birthday. So, yes, why not? I will go there. And that's something that my PRO, Zini M, used to do with me. He says to me, Mervin, I've got a challenge for you. So I said, what's your challenge? He says, I need a poem within that amount of time. Can you please do that for me? And I tell you, the last poem was like, she asked me to do it and she only gave me 2 days. And that was for the Indentured Labour and World Kindness Day. But like always, I meet up to the challenge, and one day it was enough, and I had the poem ready for her.
Wow, in one day.
Yeah. But yes, in terms of your question, there is sometimes when you have that inspiration. There's sometimes when you're just sitting and looking at the ocean, and then something just comes into your head in terms of what you are seeing. And then there's some days where it just like you'll be driving and then not thinking much about anything, and then just something just pops up. And then but those are the days where I hate myself, is because when I'm driving and
Yes.
I'm not going to say this whole poem. I'm going to remember this first 4 lines, and when I get to my stop, I can write it down.
Yeah.
So those were the challenges in terms of being able to write.
That's actually a very important message. Is when you're driving, just drive. Don't do anything else.
Correct.
You know, you see
Absolutely.
those adverts on TV, Arrive Alive. Don't be doing something else and wanting to drive at the same time. Don't text and drive. Don't do that. Don't be on your phone and drive. You have a first hand, use that. So I think that's a good message to be safe. So who is your poetry aimed at? If someone wants to pick up your book and read it, who would you say your poetry is aimed at, and what would you want those people to gain or have achieved from reading your poetry?
I have not targeted a specific age group,
Right.
sex, or anything of that sort. It's pure words that are driven to everybody on a daily basis. It's something that you would probably feel if you have a loss in the family. I can write a poem relating to a loss, and the poem that I will write will be, you'll be able to take the same feelings from there and connect it to your feelings. It's purely life, and from my age group point of view, I've had a kid that's 7 years old. They had a school project, and she tears my heart out, this child. She's only 7 years. She goes to our church, and the teacher told her to pick an author and do a stand-up for it, like at school. So she chose Mervin because she had my book, which the first one that I published, and she's taken that book, taken a poem from that book, and she did it for the school as a project.
Wow.
And she actually videoed it, and she sent me this video, and I'm like, listen to this, and I'm like, it tore me apart, because I'm saying to myself, a child at 7 years old can actually take words that I have written, and it had dealing with, at that time, the COVID time. So it was around COVID, and then she actually looks at that poem and did something with it. And the meaning behind that is that life on earth is measurable at any levels,
Yes.
but it's how you turn to perceive.
Yes. It's all about perception.
Correct.
So you have published now 2 books. You have a book called Book of Dreams, which was your very first book, and you have a book called Dreams of Life, which is the second book. So you are a 2-time published author. Can readers of your poetry who read your book, love your books and your poetries, and want to read more of it, can they see another book in the future? Or where can they, see more of your poetry, actually?
Okay, thanks to, I think initially being a self-published author, my drive was purely my own. Marketing and sales was always something that I had to do on my own. But now that I've collaborated with multimedia and multi-marketing,
Yes.
my apologies.
It's fine.
So now that I've been in collaboration with multi-marketing, the opportunity of these books now going into bookstores, going into Amazon, has now been awakened.
Right.
So yes, it will now be able to distribute to the rest of the South Africa, I hope. Yeah.
Definitely, yes.
But yes, there is a third book already in play. I'm expecting that to be completed by May, end of May, to go into public.
May 2024.
May 2024, yes.
Okay, and yes, getting your book out there, it's going to be, guys who are watching, if you want to get a copy of the book, currently it's on Crest Publishers' website, but in future you're also going to see it on Multi-Marketing's website, mmstore.co.za. You're going to see it on Amazon.com and in any of your major retail bookstores. So we're talking Bargain Books, Exclusive Books, CNA, P&A, Wordsworth, all the major bookstores anywhere in the country, whether you're in Durban, Joburg, Cape Town, Mpumalanga, Namibia, wherever you are, you'll be able to get a copy of your hands on a copy of either of his books, Book of Dreams and Dreams of Life. So, just coming into your books, I know you mentioned off camera there was a reason behind why you called it Book of Dreams. Just for the audience, can you just explain why your first book is called Book of Dreams and why your second book is called Dreams of Life?
Okay, so Book of Dreams actually started as a hardcover notebook. You know, we always have some place where we scribble down all our thoughts. So the original title was, at that time when I first started writing poetry into those books, was called Book of Dreams. And it was a lot about the love that I had at the time. You know, you meet a girl, fall in love, and you wanna, I just wanted to smother her with my words.
Right.
And poetry allowed me to do that.
Right.
So that's how Book of Dreams started. And then also what I did was also my lifestyle in terms of what was happening, in terms of where I was at that time, the friends that I had, the stuff that we used to do. And Kelly mentioned this the first time when we sat down and we collaborated with regards to the publishing of the book. And she says, Mervin, your poetry is whimsical. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I was kind of like a funny little character.
Yeah.
Zest for life was something that I thought was, you know, you rather enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, all the sadness will just...
Yeah. It'll engulf you.
Yes, and then you just left there sitting down and with this
Frowning
kind of frowning face. So yeah, so that's the basis on Book of Dreams.
Right.
So it was my personal dreams when we first started. At the time before we can go, and I did have a collaboration with Kelly. So
Kelly is actually
a publisher
director
for
of Chris Publishing.
CEO of Chris, yes, exactly. So at that time I had about 30 poems. So I asked her what would be an ideal poem, amount of poems to make an anthology. So she says, Mervin, ideally around 30 is good.
Yes.
And I looked at what the book would end up, and I said, let me just amp it up a little bit. So we ended up with about 44 poems within a week, just to get that up and running. So yes, I did make another 40 poems in that week.
Okay.
So that's when we went into publication with that, and that's Book of Dreams.
Yeah.
And then after we had actually did the printing, she gave me my book, she handed it in my hand, and she said, Mom, this is Book of Dreams. What do you think? I said, at that time, you know, seeing your writing on a book,
yeah,
it's kind of like get you so...
It's a feeling you can't explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still I cannot explain it. And then she asked me what's next, and I said, you know what, I'm going to chase another book. I said, I've still got so much of poetry in me. I think it's good to share it with the rest of the world. And I went in and I started writing, and I kept the theme of dreams, because dreams is what makes us want to wake up in the morning. Dreams is what challenges us. Dreams is what wants us to go out there and pursue stuff. We will fall, but at the end of the day, if you still have those dreams in front of you, you will want to do the things that will make it worth the while. So all your hard work, all your labor, all your pain, all your suffering, all your tears, to see that dream come true, I think is what the stuff that you put in. So hence came up with within a year actually, Dreams of Life was already published. So I managed to do 2 books in 1 year.
Wow. That's amazing. You managed to do 2 books in a span of a year. That's something that most people don't ever get to achieve. And I do like the fact that you brought up about how many poems you needed in order for a book to be published. Because multi-marketing, we get a lot of authors coming to us, they don't have a lot of poetry. And that's exactly why we launched the anthology program, which currently is actually running at the moment, where authors who don't have a lot of poetry can submit it to us and we put it together in an anthology book. But you've educated some of our audience that in order to get a proper book with a spine, with a proper, a proper looking book, you need at least 35 to 45 poems to make a proper full-length book. So I'm glad you brought that up. Before I move on to the next question, I just want to point out a lot of you guys have joined us on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you have joined us also on the Facebook Live. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comment section. We will read them out, and Mervin Francis will answer them for you. So how have people around you reacted to the fact that you're now a published poet or a published author?
The reaction that I got initially actually overwhelmed. I didn't think that it would have been received in terms of a book, because normally you need to get a distribution center where you get your books on a bookstore to actually get sales. But when I was searching and asked a lot of questions in terms of, you get the like you got your award-winning book, and how many books do you sell in order to get that type of title? And when it comes to novels, I was told it takes like about over 1,000 books to say you've got a good book and stamp of approval. And I know I spoke to Manichan, and he's one of our distributions as well. He's got his own distribution. And he told me that if you can sell 100 books on poetry, you've actually done well. So I looked at him and I said, but I've sold 180 copies of my first book. And he goes, seriously? I said, yes. And I've sold over 100 copies of my second book. And he's like, I think it baffled him a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me, when he actually stood back, made me realize that the books was well received. Because to get the copies, or to get people to actually buy it, and when the person bought the first book, and when I spoke to them to find out how's the feedback, what do they think, because it's always good to know what people think. And I always said to them, please, do not sugarcoat anything. I would like to have criticism, good or bad. It helps me to develop when I'm doing something else.
Yes.
That way I know what I'm working with. And they say, no, we're waiting to see your next book. And I'm like, seriously guys, I'm asking you. They said, no, we're waiting to see your next book. And I've actually built up this fan base with people that are still wanting to read the books. Some of them told me they've read this book about 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
So that's when I realized that poetry, it's similar to music.
Yeah.
You can read a poem today, it'll tell you something. You can read that same poem when you're feeling blue, it'll tell you something else.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about poetry. That's why I say it's for me, it's similar to music, because it goes hand in hand and it allows you that development in terms of enjoying something. So from that point of view, those that have actually bought my books were actually quite excited about it. And the fact that my poetry is actually meaning something to them.
Yeah.
I had a guy actually read a poem that I had written for my brother. My brother's late, so I read a poem about him. And I was not even 10 feet away from him. And when I turned and I looked at this guy, and he was crying.
Wow.
And I'm like, why are you crying? He says, you know, I opened the book. The first thing I read was this poem that you've written for your brother. And immediately it touched me, because it gave me that same feeling that of my brother who was passed on. And I said, you know, if my words can actually touch people like that on an emotional level, it shows that my words are not just my words. My words are actually other people's words that is stuck. They don't want to get it out. Yes. But now that they're reading it, it's actually telling them the same thing that they've been telling themselves and they've been relating to. So relatably, I think a lot of the poems, because they're heartfelt, I think it's received in that manner. And I think I will continuously do that to write in that same manner.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the thing that you mentioned earlier about perception. Sometimes you'll read a poem, and same with music, guys. Like, you listen to a song, it's just like a song that you just listen to. But then you listen to it when you're going through a certain emotion, and suddenly the words are like speaking to you. So I think that's the power of poetry. It's the same as music, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have a poet by the name of Heidi Hahn. She's been published in both of our anthologies. She's actually now turning her poetry into music. So poetry and music, it's almost like the same thing. It's just poetry is music without the instrument, without the vocals, because you're reading what's been put out on paper. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So just for yourself, what do you think the future holds for Mervin Francis? What do you want to achieve going forward?
Okay, so for me, it will be continuously working in ways that I could actually touch people. I've mentioned this to you earlier on when we were chatting. I actually wrote a poem for Rajiv Moti.
Yes.
And Rajiv Moti is one of these movie stars.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of collaborating on the stage with regards to dances and performing shows and stuff like that. So I actually met him once before, but not personally. I went to his show, and this guy actually fell off the stage performing, bounced back up and just carried on performing. And he actually mentioned, he didn't even hide it. He said, you know, I'm actually prepared to fall for you guys. That's how much I do these things. And it actually triggered something in me. And he says, you know what, I like his style. And then later on, sometime, a couple of months later, and they were doing a show in Cape Town. And I went on Instagram, and no, on TikTok, sorry, on TikTok. And they were doing live on TikTok, practice at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And I was like, seriously? And then I started chatting with them, because I work shifts, so I was night shift. So I just started chatting with Rajiv, and he was interacting with me at the time. And I did say to him, I'm going to write a poem about you. And he was like, it'll be nice, I would really like to see that. And beginning of the year, I kind of like said, okay, let me just do this. And apart from that, the messaging, I never knew the guy. I just never knew who he was, what he was in terms of personality-wise. And then I went in and I wrote this poem. And the amazing thing about it, the title of the poem was, The Show Must Go On. That's what I titled it. Only to find out from my PRO, after I shared the poem with her, is that that's the catchphrase. The show must go on.
Wow.
I never knew that. And then the poem that I wrote about him, when he received it, he shared it with his on his platform. And everybody that read it says that the words that I put there actually is him to the T.
Wow.
And I still couldn't grasp that.
Wow.
How did I manage to do that? How did I take words that was in my head, write about somebody that I never actually did any background check on? But the thing, and then to me it came back to me. It's a God-given talent. God puts words into my head, and those words is what I think He wants me to share with the rest of the world and get them to enjoy, to embrace, to look at things differently. Life's not all doom and gloom. It's like
There's a lot of positive.
exactly, and that poem is actually going to be in my next book.
Yes.
And just for you, so that we know where we're going with the next book, the book is entitled Life, Dreams and Challenges.
Wow.
So that's the title of the book.
I've noticed that the dreams is a recurring theme with your book. Is that on purpose, or is that just something that happened?
I think it's on purpose. I would say it's on purpose. Reason being that, like I always say, for me, it's a dream come true.
Yes.
What I'm doing now is truly, when I wake up, I think I'm still awake, asleep.
Yes.
Because I'm dreaming all these things. This is what's happening right now. Is like, for me, it's another level in terms of understanding or sharing, or the platform that I'm in at the moment. But the beauty of it is that we all share the same dreams.
Yes. And for those of you who are watching on Instagram, Facebook, again, if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. We will ask Mervin and he will answer it for you on stage. And those of you who know who Rajiv Moti is, you know exactly how big of a star that is. And I'm going to pull a bit of a Rajiv Moti and say that the show must go on. I'm sure you guys on Facebook, Instagram may have heard a little bit of a disturbance a few moments ago while he was speaking. We're going to gloss it over and the show will go on. So what advice do you have for other authors that are aspiring authors, poets, or just writers in general out there? What advice would you have for them?
Do not be afraid. Your words means a lot to you, and it means a lot to somebody else out there as well. The fact that we don't get to see what people go through emotionally, and any kind word that resonates with what they are doing or what they are feeling or where they are in that particular point in time can spark off a different kind of life for them. And I think, literally in the literature world, we are called wordsmiths. And I think there's a reason why we call wordsmiths, is because we can take the words and actually put it into a theme that will give somebody something to look forward to. You're going to have a lot of hiccups.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of stumbling blocks. You're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations going forward. You're going to slip, you're going to fall. Wake up. Pick yourself up. Be positive. Give yourself a challenge. Don't say that I will do. Say I can do and I am going to do. That way you are pushing yourself to work towards something that's going to make an impact on somebody's life. Whether they make them laugh, whether you make them cry, whether you just bring out a weird vibe in them. But the fact is that some people get scared back to life.
Yes.
That's why we got horror out there.
Yeah.
Horror scares people back to life, but people end up liking it because it
They
kind of
enjoy
like
that. Yes. the
exactly.
thrill.
So yes, Michael Jackson did the same thing with Thriller.
Yeah.
It became a good song. So you never know. So do not sell yourself short. Always make sure that if you have a dream, you are chasing that dream, and then down that line, when you see a book in your hand with your name on it, it just melts all the difficulties, all the hardship that you've been through. And trust me, it's worth the wait, and it's worth more than gold, more than anything that's out there, just to show what it is that you can do.
Indeed, and I like that you mentioned that, because one of my life mottos is believe and achieve. If you believe that you can do it, you will achieve it. And your mind, guys, also remember what I'm telling you. Your mind has to arrive at your destination before you do. If you can see that you can see the goalpost, go towards it, because it can and it will become a reality, whatever your dream is. So for those out there in multi-marketing who liked what you've said today, what you've spoken about, they like your books, they like your poetry, where can they find you online? What are your social media handles? Where can they find you?
Okay, so currently I'm running off most of my books of Crest Publishers. That's
crestpublishers.co.za.
Then I'm also on Instagram, which is Mervin M Francis. Facebook, which is Mervin Mark Francis. TikTok, which is Mervin MF.
Yes. So guys, and if you are typing that in, remember to put the @ before you type those in. So guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, Instagram, Facebook, drop them in the comments and Mervin Francis will answer them. But while I'm giving you guys time to think of questions, Mervin Francis is going to read a couple of his poems. So he's chosen one poem from his first book, which is Book of Dreams, and another poem from his second book, which is Dreams of Life, and he's going to read it for us here. So Mervin, take it away.
Okay, so I think one of the areas of our time right now is we're closing in on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So there's a lot of love in the
Love in
buzz
the air. Yeah.
So there's something that I had done many years ago, and I always said we have weddings, and the one thing with the Christian weddings, I'm a Catholic, so one thing with our Catholic weddings is that we have a song that walks, as you walk down the aisle, here comes a bride, and it's the same thing that you have all the time.
Right.
So I said, let me do something different. So I actually wrote a poem for my wedding. And the poem was actually called Wedding March.
Right.
But just to be a little bit more different, and this is why I say when you have dreams and you want to make it happen, you tend to do things differently. I actually sang the poem.
Okay.
For the wedding. So it was
Right.
walks down the aisle, Mervin standing in the bottom, mic in his hand, singing, and there she's walking down with a smile on her face, look around while you're singing, everybody else is just like tears in their eyes. So it was something different. But I'm gonna read it, guys. No, I'm not gonna sing it to you today.
Right.
So yeah.
Just hold the book up so people can see where you're getting from. Which book?
All right. So the poem is called Wedding March, and it goes like this. As you walk down the aisle with your daddy, holding hands, walking towards me. So much love in those eyes, girl, that's all that I can see. So much love for you and me. I plan to share my life with you. Forever, I promise to be true. Because you are the only love for me. And in my heart, there's only you. So come join me now at the altar, where our vows together we shall take. And the blessings from above shall shower upon our love and make it strong, this love within. Make it strong, this love indeed. Because together, that's where we belong. And forever, I pray our love stays strong. Because I love you with all my heart, right from the very start. I was trying to read this thing, and I was like trying to sing it at the same time. It's like,
Yeah.
you notice that?
The rhythm, yes.
Yeah.
I've also noticed you're very talented. You can actually read an upside down book. Wow.
You know, it's like nothing out of the ordinary. It's
Something you
it's
see every day,
see-
right?
Something you see every day. Don't you read a book upside down sometimes?
I'm not that talented as you.
You need to try it. It's actually
Oh, okay.
not bad.
Maybe I will. Just try something new. And you have a poem from your other book, Dreams of Life.
Yes, I've chosen something from Dreams of Life.
Okay. And you're going to read
Guys,
it the
I'm
right
going to
way
read
up.
this thing the right way up,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. I've already got no shot on
He's
his,
used a lot of energy reading the last one upside down. So.
If I start reading this upside down as well, he's gonna probably wake up and do something else. Okay, so it's, as I said, keeping with the same theme of love, keeping
Right.
the same theme of Valentine's in the air. Title of the poem is called A Rose. The flower of love is called a rose. Its majestic beauty can be used to propose. Red roses signify true love, desire, and romance. It can create waves with just one glance. Yellow roses signify care, joy, and friendship, which in time can lead to a beautiful relationship. For a strong bond starts with being good friends, and then it blossoms into love that we pray never ends. Orange roses signifies enthusiasm, energy, and desire. Once started, it can be love's eternal fire that burns bright in the hearts of those in love, which fit together hand in glove. White roses signify purity and innocence. It will bring true love all the confidence. So remember to reveal all that is in your heart, so that your journey in life is true from the start.
Wow. Very well done. Very well put together. I like how you mentioned the different colors of roses. It almost takes me back to there's this common poem, roses are red, violets are blue.
Your mother's so beautiful, what happened to you? Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, exactly, that poem. There's many different versions and variations. Some of you may know other versions and variations, but we're not going to get into that. So I don't see any questions on Instagram. I don't think anybody has asked any questions on Facebook either. So we're going to wrap this up. Before we do that, Mervin, do you have any last words or parting words that you have for our viewers out there?
Life, we've only got one of them. The best thing to do is make sure that you enjoy and make the best of every opportunity and every moment that you can spend doing things from within with a peaceful mind, with joy, and with the hope of a better tomorrow. For me, I think if we can think on what we want out of life and be positive in terms of us addressing those issues, I think it'll be better for us going forward, because you'll always have something positive to look forward to and something that you know is going to drive you towards a better and improved life.
Indeed. Mervin, thank you so much for joining us here on Multi-Marketing. We look forward to having your books on Amazon, MM Store, and in the bookstores. And guys, if you enjoyed the poetry that you heard, if you enjoyed the story of Mervin Francis that he has told us here today, be on the lookout. Stay tuned to our social media pages. You will see those books. If you want to get your hands on a book right now, go on over to crestpublishers.co.za. You can get your hands on a copy of the book. But
It's Crest with a K.
Crest with a K, just like Kelly starts with a K. I'd like to give you a shout out there, Kelly. So thank you guys for joining us, and remember, you're going to see his books on bookstores nationwide. You're going to see it on Amazon and on mmstore.co.za, so stay tuned for that. Until I see you guys next time for another Instagram Live with another amazing guest, it's been an amazing time. For Mervin Francis, I've been your host, Noshad Khan. Thank you for joining us on Multi-Marketing, and I know I haven't done this in a while, and I've never done an interview where the camera has been this far away from me, guys. So you're going to have to excuse me when I do step forward, but I'm going to give you guys the signature closeout that you all like. Until I see you guys down the road, peace and chicken grease.